Coming up on Speedway Line Report Radio, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut. Tonight, joining me and my co-host Ricky Rotondo from the World of Outlaws Craftsman's Sprint Cup Series. David Gravel will join us and tell us about his 2018 season, how it's going, and especially about his third victory of the season that came this past Friday night at I-96 Speedway. The NASCAR Wheel of Modified Tour, they were at the Seekonk Speedway this past Saturday night, and when it was all said and done, visiting Victory Lane for the second time this year, Justin Bonsignore. We'll talk to him about that and the next stop at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. And we'll be taking your phone calls, 203-757-1320. We stream live at WATR.com, and to hear our show on a rebroadcast, you can now go to SidsView.com. You can also check us out on the TuneIn Radio app and the Simple Radio app. Today is Monday, June 4th, 2018, and Speedway Line Report Radio is headed your way right now.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
The green flag is in the air, and it's time for the Speedway Line Report, presented by Shaler Acura of Manchester, broadcasting from our WATR studios in Waterbury, Connecticut, and streaming live around the world. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. Gary Danko here in our Waterbury studio at WATR 1320, right alongside my co-host, Rocket Rick Rotondo. Speedway Line Report Radio is also being brought to you by J.M. Montesano Auto Body, Sign Pro, Jim's Lawn Care Service, Levine Auto and Truck Parts, Prestige Body Works, and Grotto Restaurant. Rick, how are you?
Doing well. Are you?
Not too bad. Friday night action over at Stafford Motor Speedway, Premier Division, SK Modifieds. Chase Dowling in for the victory with his number 36 car. The team that you work with, Eric Burnt, finished second. Tell us about how that night went.
We had a good car. We started 10th. And when you start there, it's just a little bit of a waiting game till you can get cleared to get a position. And because even if you're okay on the outside, you know, car two in front of you might not be that great. So you just try to wait it out, and we did at the beginning. We waited a few and got up to the top, 7 there, and then started to pick them off one at a time. And we got up to where were we when I think we got up to 4th, and then everything was strung out, and we got by Ron Williams and Todd Owen. And just didn't have enough laps to reel him in.
Yeah, Mike Christopher Jr., he finished 5th. Glenn Reen was 6th. Also in the top 10 was Keith Rocco. Ryan Priest finished 9th, and Joey Cipriano right here out of Waterbury, Connecticut. He would finish in the 10th position. Of course, a lot of racing action coming up this coming Friday night over at Stafford Motor Speedway. Coming up on this edition, Ricky, as I mentioned right at the top of the show, we're going to talk to David Gravel, who runs World of Outlaws. He's got 3 wins already in the 2018 season, so we'll check in with him on that. And Justin Bonsignore having so far a good season on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. 2 victories to his credit. We'll talk to him about that and much, much more. So when we return here on Speedway Line Report Radio, we'll talk to our first guest of the evening, David Gravel. He'll join us next.
In the market for a new or pre-owned Acura? There's only one place to go, Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler offers the area's best selection of new and certified pre-owned Acuras, combined with being Connecticut's only Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Acura Dealership of Distinction Award 18 times. At Shaler, we make owning an Acura easy. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street in Manchester, or visit us on the web at www.shaleracura.com. There's nowhere else like Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler Acura is Connecticut's first Acura dealer. Whether it's an MDX or RDX sport utility, or a sport luxury sedan like the ILX or TLX, Shaler has what you're looking for. They also have the area's best selection of certified pre-owned Acuras in the area. Shaler Acura is the only Connecticut Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Dealer of Distinction Award by Acura for outstanding sales and service 18 times. At Shaler, they make owning and driving an Acura easy. Visit their ultra-modern, newly renovated facility today. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street, Manchester, exit 60 off I-84, or visit them on the web at www.shaleracura.com.
Opinions expressed on the Speedway Line Report do not necessarily reflect those of WATR management and staff, or the management and staff of the SpeedwayLineReport.com or VintageModifieds.com.
Welcome back to Speedway Line Report Radio here on WATR 1320 AM. We're also streaming online at WATR.com, and you can now hear Speedway Line Report Radio in a rebroadcast. They're all archived at SidsView.com. We appreciate everything that Sid DiMaggio doing for us here on Speedway Line Report Radio. So if you want to check out Speedway Line Report Radio and the rebroadcast, just go to SidsView.com. So in just a couple of minutes, David Gravel is going to be joining us. We're going to talk to him about the 2018 season. Of course, he runs World of Outlaws, and we'll talk to him about his season. I see he also was at a NHRA race this past weekend, not actually competing, but they're observing. So we'll talk to them about that. And what can we say? Justin Bonsignore, in the early season so far on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, with 2 victories. Of course, he won at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park back in April. And so he's going to talk to us about that and much, much more on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. Ricky?
Yeah, he's got a 7-point lead in the points. Yeah,
he's doing very well so far. And, who's having a good season, too, is Chase Dowling. We mentioned him winning the SK Modified feature event Friday night over at Stafford Motor Speedway, but he's also running full-time on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, and he also came up with a good finish on the Modified Tour at Seekonk Speedway. So we'll another couple of weeks we'll get Chase Dowling on and talk to him about how things are going for him in 2018. So David Gravel going to join us in just a couple of minutes. This show is also being brought to you by Jim's Lawn Care Service. When it's maintenance and lawn care, it's Jim's Lawn Service. He's out of Cheshire, Connecticut, so if you live in and around the Cheshire area and you need maintenance and lawn care, why not choose Jim's Lawn Care Service? 203-272-2054 is how you'll get a hold of Jim Majorana. And Ricky, he's a big fan. He takes in a lot of racing over at the New London Waterford Speedbowl, and I know he stops by your shop at R&R Fabrication, I'm sure, quite a few times during the week.
Yeah, he stops by whenever he gets a chance to see what's going on and what's happening. But, yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. He just saw him the other day, and our first guest of the evening is all set and ready to go, and we'll talk to him about the big win this past Friday night at I-96 Speedway from the World of Outlaws. David Gravel now joins us. David, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Gary.
You're very welcome. And, of course, my co-host, Ricky Rotondo, right alongside me here in our Waterbury studio. Let's kick off this the conversation. Victory this past Friday night at I-96 Speedway. Tell us from the time you unloaded to the time you got to victory lane.
It was a pretty smooth night. We qualified right where we needed to in our format. We wanted to qualify typically in the top 6 or 8, depending on how many cars are there, so that puts us on the front row of the heat race, and from there we got to finish in the top 2 in the heat race to make the dash, and typically the dash lines up the top 6 or 8 in the A main, and we were able to do that and start 3rd in the A main, and just picked our way through there a little bit. We got to 2nd early, and then on a restart fell back to 3rd, and actually when we restarted 3rd, I was able to get the lead off the turn 2 down the backstretch and lead from there on out. We had some lap traffic and some other things that we had to deal with. And I think there was a bunch of cautions and a couple red flags. So the race got dragged along pretty long, but we were able to get the job done.
Comparing your season from 2017 to this point so far in 2018, where would you say you are?
We're not too far off. Seems like every year, for whatever reason, the first race of the year, something bad happens to us, and the same thing happened this year, and put us in a little bit of a hole. We came back and did better in Las Vegas, where we struggled in the past, but then kind of struggled in California. So we've done better at some places than we did the year before, and then have done worse. So just kind of a balance, and we haven't won. I think we're like 2 races down at this point of the year, but overall it's been pretty good. We're third in points, finished third in points the last 2 seasons. So for point standings, we're right where we've been, just a little bit behind on wins. That's all.
And I know you guys travel everywhere to race for that there. And how does that affect the crew and everything else going from California and Vegas and all those other things?
It's definitely tough. We've raced 23 times, and I think we've gotten rained out 16 times. So we were supposed to race over 30 races this year, but lost 16 to rain out. So that has made some races getting postponed, and one race we tried to get done 3 times because the rain's so bad. So we've had to take several detours and kind of drive in circles and zigzagging and stuff. So that gets old, just all the traveling and traveling that's unexpected too.
Yeah, especially being 16 rainouts. I mean, how many of them did you guys actually head towards or go to?
A good amount. I would say at least half. There was some that, the weather, man, we were supposed to race Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago, and we got rained out 4 days straight. We were supposed to race Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday got rained out, and they moved it to Thursday, and we were washed out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was actually luckily able to stay in Connecticut that whole time and actually be home. So that worked out good for home time, but I got a race to get paid, so it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Talking with David Gravel from the World of Outlaws, talking to him about his victory this past Friday night. You also got 2 other victories in 2018. Let's talk about that, David.
Man, it seems like it's been a while since I've won. I won in Texas at Cotton Bowl Speedway. I was able to start I started on the pole and led every lap, and it was really rough and heavy, but was able to hold everybody off in lap traffic and get a win there. And I'm drawing a blank on where I won the other time. It seems all blurred and so long ago because of all these rainouts. Season started in February, and usually I'm trying to think where my other win was.
Tri-State Speedway.
Oh, Hopstad, Indiana. Okay. That was a very interesting race. We started up front, had the lead early, lost the lead, was actually back to third, and on a restart, the guy in second tried to pass the leader and actually wrecked each other, and I was able to take the lead from there since they both wrecked, and hung on to win a 40-lapper there. So that was a very interesting night, but just kind of raced smarter than these other kids raced, a little bit too aggressive, and it worked out in my favor.
I see you got to take in some drag racing this past weekend.
Yes, I went to my first NHRA drag race this weekend at Route 66 Raceway here near Chicago and Joliet, Illinois, and it was really cool. I know Cruz Pedregon and J.R. Todd personally, but the reason why we were there, our sponsor is High Performance Lubricants. His name's David Ward, and he provides all our oils for our team, and he's right outside Chicago and had a bunch of tents and banners set up. He helps a bunch of pro stock guys out, so we were there on his behalf and was able to roam the pits, and Cruz Pedregon was able to get us on the starting line, and we did an interview there on camera for everybody here and listen to and watch. So that was cool. So he showed us around, showed us how those guys race, and analyzed everything after the run. So it was definitely an awesome experience.
Yeah, I always found it interesting, like when, I race with the open wheel modifieds and all that kind of stuff, but when you go with other divisions and other things, just like drag racing and anything like that, it's how they do everything, what they do, and it's something. That drag racing, man, they could turn around that motor fast.
Yeah, it's one, just obviously the experience in person. TV does it zero justice, but yeah, those guys work fast. I'm saying about 30 to 45 minutes in between, rounds, and those guys get it done and pull the heads off, pull the blower off, put new rods and pistons in it, and analyze everything and make the changes they need to make. And it's those guys work hard for one start to finish during the day. Man, they do not stop. So it's not like circle track racing, because they only race for about 4 seconds, and then they got to work on them again. So at least us, we could I guess watch our car go around for a little while.
Yeah, and just like in our racing, they all stick together behind the scenes, because it's like I seen one time where somebody wasn't quite ready yet, so you could actually go stage, and if they don't get there in time, then they miss the race. And I've seen it, it happens all the time. They don't really show it on TV too much, but they were going over to the thing, wasn't ready yet, so they waited until he was ready, and then rolled their car over, and then they went racing. Because it's one of the things I try to explain to people a lot, that racing is different than every other sport. If we go out there and win, we want to win against your best. If we have to help you get your car ready, then we're going to help you get your car ready, because we're going to make sure we're going to go out there and win.
Yep.
And that's why I really like racing.
Hey, David, we mentioned that you won Friday night at I-96 Speedway, and then on Saturday you were running over at Wilmot Raceway. What's that racetrack all about, and what was the finish there?
Well, that's a place that I actually won the last 3 years in a row. It was last year, the year before, we were off a year, and then 2014 I won. So it was a track they really liked me at, and it was actually going real good. I think we had a really, really good shot at winning the race, but during the B main, it started downpouring, and really juiced up the track, got it real wet and tacky, and typically that's not really what we're best at. Typically we're good when the track's slick and not a lot of grip, and we were just too tight in the A main, and fell back a little bit early, but was able to finish fourth. So I was pretty happy with the fourth place run there with the type of track we had. But if it didn't rain, I liked our chances to win.
And when it was all said and done, it was Brett Marks that picked up the victory. So your next stop will come up when?
Well, this is another rescheduled race from rain. We're racing Fairbury, Illinois tomorrow. And then we have a 3-day weekend in Jackson, Minnesota. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Saturday pays $40,000 to win. So it's a pretty big event. And actually, our sponsor is the owner of that speedway. He's been building that event up. He's done a lot of work to it, reconfigured the track, new concrete walls, brand new seats from an old NASCAR track. So. He's spent a lot of money on this place, and he's really trying to build a Knoxville-esque event and track.
Yeah. Hey, back a few weeks ago, David, I saw an article, and it mentioned that you were possibly looking to maybe try some NASCAR racing. Tell us about that, and is there anything you can share with us here on Speedway Line Report Radio?
Well, there's a guy that just want to interview me, and he's got a pretty big following online. And, there's always interest in doing that. We race 90 times a year, and it's really tough. You make a lot of sacrifices to race. You're just never home, really, but the off season. So for me, I just want to race for a living. But if I get an opportunity to race at a higher level, I would be stupid not to at least give it a try. So,
sure.
I just want people to know that, I'm kind of open to anything and open to the higher level. It'd be nice to race 25 times a year and then maybe do some other stuff on the side. It's just tough when you have to be there 90 times a year. It just gets tough with the traveling. if we were racing locally and raced 3 times a weekend every weekend, it'd be way easier because you get to sleep in your own bed every night. But, I give Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer lots of props for doing it for as long as they did. So it's something that's not easy, but, I can't complain. I'm in a, pretty good spot. And if I stay in the World of Outlaws my whole career, I do. So
sure.
I'll still be happy with that.
Absolutely. Let's go to line number 1. Good evening. You're on Speedway Line Report Radio.
Yes.
Yeah,
I wondered, David said he could win $40,000 to come in first. How much do you get if you come in last or 10th?
Well, every race that we race in with the World of Outlaws, it pays $10,000 to win, $800 to start. It's about $2,000 for 10th. In second, it's $5,500. Now this $40,000 to win races is a special race. We have, our like crown jewel events. We have 2 races that pay $50,000. Typically on back they don't pay as well, but one of our $50,000 win races pay I think about $3,000 to start, and I think that's what this $40,000 to win race pays this weekend. I think it's $3,000 to start, and I think it's 20 or 15 for second.
Okay, so you're guaranteed $3,000 just to start the race?
Yes, but there'll be over 40 cars that show up and only 24 make it. So there could be potential to be over 50 cars, but I'm guessing we'll be probably in the low 40s for that event.
Yeah, but you make every race because you're good. So
well, I would hope so, yes.
Yes, no, I've been following for years. I knew your dad before it passed, and I'm glad to hear you're making it good, and I hope you do make it to NASCAR.
Well, I appreciate it, and, we're going to keep pushing forward. So we're, one of the best in the type of racing that we do, and hopefully, good things are to come in the future.
Oh, I see that. You've got the talent. You're like a Kyle Larson or Jeff Gordon. You've got the talent.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well,
okay, good news, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate the phone call. 203-757-1320 if you want to talk auto racing on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. On the line from the World of Outlaws, David Gravel. Coming up a little bit later on, NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour winner from this past weekend at Seekonk Speedway, Justin Bonsignore will be joining us. He'll tell us about that victory and the next stop for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour coming up on June 13th at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with David Gravel. We'll be back right after this.
There's nowhere else like Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler Acura is Connecticut's first Acura dealer. Whether it's an MDX or RDX sport utility or a sport luxury sedan like the ILX or TLX, Shaler has what you're looking for. They also have the area's best selection of certified pre-owned Acuras in the area. Shaler Acura is the only Connecticut Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Dealer of Distinction Award by Acura for outstanding sales and service 18 times. At Shaler, they make owning and driving an Acura easy. Visit their ultra-modern, newly renovated facility today. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street, Manchester, exit 60 off I-84, or visit them on the web at www.shaleracura.com. In the market for a new or pre-owned Acura? There's only one place to go, Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler offers the area's best selection of new and certified pre-owned Acuras, combined with being Connecticut's only Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Acura Dealership of Distinction Award 18 times. At Shaler, we make owning an Acura easy. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street in Manchester, or visit us on the web at www.shaleracura.com.
Welcome back to Speedway Line Report Radio here on WATR 1320 AM. We're also streaming online at WATR.com, and all shows are archived at SidsView.com. I'm Gary Danko. My co-host is Ricky Rotondo. Our first guest of the evening is David Gravel from the World of Outlaws. And David, talk a little bit about your race team.
Our race team, the name of the team is TJB Motorsports. We're out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Chad and Jen Clemens are the car owners. They are from right outside Philadelphia. They own a pretty big landscaping company and do a lot of plowing for the state of Pennsylvania. And they've been doing the Outlaw Tour. This is my third year with them. I think they did the Outlaw Tour 3 years with Paul McMahon. And that was their first duty there on the World of Outlaw Tour. Before that, they had Fred Raymer drive locally for them for, I believe, 7 or 8 years. So they've been in the sport for over 10 years now. And like I said, I think this is their 5th or 6th Outlaw season. And, pretty much we're going against Casey Kane and Tony Stewart's teams. We've been third the past 2 years, and battling with those guys every year.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to battle against there. And like I was saying earlier, I mean, it's tough when you got to travel all the way across the whole country doing that kind of stuff. I mean, we complain when we have to go to Thompson Speedway, which is an hour and a half away maybe, and get turned around and have to come back. I can't imagine doing.
You guys are spoiled some in that regard. It's tough. Where we raced Friday was about 4.5, 5 hours away from the track on Saturday. So, we drove actually 4.5 hours after the races to get in about a half hour away from the racetrack, and went to sleep around, I think it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and woke up around 10 or 11, and then drove to the racetrack around noon and worked from about noon to 3 o'clock to get ready for the next night. So that's what makes it tough, but that's what makes these teams great, is able to do that night in, night out, and bring a car that's prepared and have nothing fall off. So it's it's not for everybody, and it separates the men between the boys, really.
Hey, David, back a few months ago, did you compete in the Chili Bowl?
Yeah, I ran the Chili Bowl last year for Frank Manafort, and man, we were actually really, really fast. We missed the big show by 1 spot. We ran 5th in the B main. They made my preliminary night, but actually got a flat tire in the beginning of the B main and had to tag the back of the field and still ran 5th. So if we didn't get that flat tire, I could have almost guaranteed we would have been in the big show. So I'll be driving for Frank again this coming year, because confidence is high, and they have Bob East as a crew chief, and he's one of the best. He's one of the legend crew chiefs in USAC racing, and builds beast cars, and who's built the best asphalt sprint cars and asphalt midgets for a long time.
David, I know I've asked you this many times when you've been on Speedway Line Report Radio, but did you ever want to get behind an open wheel, whether an SK modified or a wheel modified tour car?
Yeah, for sure. I would drive anything. I don't care if it's a go-kart. It doesn't really matter to me what it is. You always like the challenge to try new and different things. And, for whatever reason, Whip City and then going to Pennsylvania, it steered us that direction. We bought our trailer for quarter midgets was from a modified guy. We knew the Membrino family. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of things around us that knew about modifieds. And I've been to Stafford when I was a kid, and when they have the Silver Crown cars there and the NEMA midgets and stuff like that. So I've been to Thompson and Stafford plenty of times growing up, but I don't know, for whatever reason, that's just the way it was for me. And I always like a challenge, though. So I feel like those modifieds have a lot of grip with having 4 wide slicks. So it would definitely probably be a lot of fun.
Well, they definitely got a lot of grip. It's just getting the setup down. The guy behind the seat has to be able to tell you what the car needs, and you can get going pretty well with the cars. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And the way that they have the tire thing right now, you're only allowed 2 tires a week.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing that hurts a little bit. But just for your sake, if you do go to Stafford or something like that, you'll make out pretty good, because you get to buy tires right off the bat. I think they'll allow you 8 as soon as you get there. So I mean, you'd be all set for a couple races at least anyway.
Yep.
You know, a couple of weeks ago on Sirius XM radio, Joey Logano was on there, and he had he gave you a nice compliment, and Ryan Priest, and drivers coming from Silver City Quarter Midget Club. What a great job that they do over there, and some good drivers have come out of there, and it was nice to hear him mention your name, David, and of course everything that Ryan Priest has done, and of course there's drivers that have come out of there that have done very well, whether on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour or in SK Modifieds or other type of racing. So I thought that was a big plug for you, David.
Well, I did not know he said that. I wish if he could maybe text me or whatever to find that archive. That would be cool to listen to. But that's nice of him. Bobby Santos coming from our region.
And Bobby, he did mention Bobby Santos too. Right.
Yeah. Bobby Santos, to me, if anybody ever deserved a NASCAR ride from the Northeast, it was him. Because, for him to just hop in a modified and win, and I believe he won the championship one year. He's just amazing on asphalt. If it's a Silver Crown, a sprint car, a midget, it doesn't seem it really matters what kind of car it is. He never really liked the dirt, but was heavily involved in the USAC asphalt stuff, and did great. So he's an awesome talent. Obviously Joey's got a ton of talent. He's been competitive ever since he's been in NASCAR. Ryan works really hard and worked extremely hard to get that opportunity to race for Gibbs for a couple races, and he made his short time there pay off, and got him more races this year, and hopefully more to come in the future. So there's a lot of talented people out there that win races. It just there's not as many sprint or race car drivers as there is baseball players, but there's still enough race car drivers out there that not every talented person gets that opportunity. So we got better chances than maybe golfers or baseball players, but man, it's just tough nowadays. If we grew up in the 90s, I'm sure all the people that deserved a shot probably would get one, but it's just tough nowadays. It's just everything got so expensive and inflated, it just makes it hard to just give people rides nowadays.
Yeah, the big thing is it comes down to money. If you have enough money, you can get a ride.
Yeah, back in the day, in the 90s, it seemed like it was dirt cheap to race. I know in every sport, motors have gotten more expensive, and tires and diesel fuel. Back in the day, diesel fuel was, dirt cheap. So everything just has gotten more and more expensive over the years, and, NASCAR has inflated their teams, out of control, in my opinion, and has just made it so expensive to run an operation that it's not even feasible anymore. So I think they're going to cut that back, and I think that's why they had that package at the All-Star race, maybe to take some power away and make these motors last longer and just, try to get the cost down. But I've been to a couple of cup shops, and it's just crazy that all the crew guys fly in private jets to the races, and after the races that night, they're laying in bed no matter where they're racing at because they're flying on a private jet. So it's pretty wild how those guys race and how some other series race.
Last question for you, David. How's your Viper running?
I don't know. It hasn't been running. Just been sitting there. Probably the battery's close to dead. So
okay.
I just can't enjoy those things. And I actually made a big move. I bought a house in Florida just pretty much because I'm only home in the winter. So during the racing season, when I race in Pennsylvania, I'll go home, and I'll go home to Connecticut and, for Christmas and stuff. But I'm going to spend 3 months every year in Florida at my house and able to actually enjoy my Viper and my Mustang that I like to drag race every once in a while. So I'm looking forward to that. And, there's no state income tax that also I'm looking forward to. So we're going to have some fun this winter, that's for sure.
All right. Hey, David, thanks for being a part of Speedway Line Report Radio. Always great to have you on. Once again, congratulations to you and your team on your 3 victories so far in 2018 in the World of Outlaws, and we'll look to get you back on here maybe in another month or so.
All right, Gary, appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and yeah, hopefully we'll talk to you soon again.
All right. David Gravel joining us tonight on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio, and we thank him for his time tonight on Speedway Line Report Radio, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a driver that sat in victory lane Saturday night at Seekonk Speedway. He drives the number 51 on the NASCAR Wheel and Modify Tour. Justin Bonsignore, he'll join us next.
Acura? There's only one place to go, Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler offers the area's best selection of new and certified pre-owned Acuras, combined with being Connecticut's only Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Acura Dealership of Distinction Award 18 times. At Shaler, we make owning an Acura easy. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street in Manchester, or visit us on the web at www.shaleracura.com. There's nowhere else like Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler Acura is Connecticut's first Acura dealer. Whether it's an MDX or RDX sport utility, or a sport luxury sedan like the ILX or TLX, Shaler has what you're looking for. They also have the area's best selection of certified pre-owned Acuras in the area. Shaler Acura is the only Connecticut Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Dealer of Distinction Award by Acura for outstanding sales and service 18 times. At Shaler, they make owning and driving an Acura easy. Visit their ultra-modern, newly renovated facility today. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street, Manchester, exit 60 off I-84, or visit them on the web at www.shaleracura.com.
Welcome back to Speedway Line Report Radio here on WATR 1320 AM. We are also streaming online at WATR.com, and all of our shows now are archived at SidsView.com. This show also being brought to you by J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works, specialists in auto collision, all work guaranteed. 390 Lombard Street in New Haven. If you've been in an auto accident and you want to get your car back to looking brand new, then you need to stop by J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. Once again, they are specials in auto collision, all work guaranteed, 390 Lombard Street in New Haven. Give them a call at 203-865-1389 for J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works, specialist in auto collision. I'm Gary Danko. My co-host is Rocket Rick Rotondo. We just heard from David Gravel from the World of Outlaws. Now we're going to talk to open wheel modified driver. He sat in victory lane for the second time in 2018 on the NASCAR Wheel and Modify Tour. Justin Bonsignore now joins us. Justin, good evening. How are you?
Hey, guys. Pleasure to be back on.
Great to have you back on. Let's kick off the conversation. Seekonk Speedway, Saturday night. You got to victory lane. Tell us about your night.
It was a great day all around. We came off the truck with a lot of speed. We were fastest car in practice. Was able to follow that up with a pole, my first one in almost 4 years. And then just had a really good race car and a really good battle with Matt Hirschman for a good chunk of the race. And at the end, Chase Dowling got up to second and put some pressure on us, but we were able to fortunately fend both of them off and put on some exciting racing, I think, for the fans. And we were able to come out on top, which is always good.
Yeah, that's what I read in that thing, that you had a dominant car all day. You were fastest all the way around from front to back. So, I mean, those are the days where you like those days.
Yeah, you don't have too many of those in any type of racing. So we definitely are going to savor this one for sure. It's a big deal to have a car like that, and when you have a car like that, you also have to make sure you can come out on top with a victory, because you don't want to let down your guys or let one slip away when you have a car that is that good.
I mean, you say it like that, but I mean, people don't realize there's a lot of pressure on the driver when he's out there, and there's some guy close to you. You have a better car, but if you just screw up a little bit going into one of them corners, it could change everything.
Yeah, and that kind of happened. Me and Matt were, there was a bunch of restarts, and Matt and I were battling hard, and we were able to get the lead on a bunch of starts, and then he timed one of my restarts perfectly, and he got a good run through 1 and 2. it took me 40 or 50 laps to figure that out. And at that time, that's a lot of pressure put back on you going, man, I don't want to give this one away on a mistake that I made with a car that was this good. So fortunately, we were able to put a nice crossover move on him and then battle for a couple laps side by side, which was really cool, a lot of fun. Have a lot of respect for Matt. He's one of the best of our generation. And I was there the first time I raced him heads up for a win. So that was a pretty cool accomplishment to come out on top.
We're talking with Justin Bonsignore, who scored a win Saturday night at Seekonk Speedway on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. As we had mentioned, Chase Dowling was second, Matt Hirschman was third, Rowan Pennock was fourth, and a good run for Ron Silk, Ronnie Williams, Timmy Salamito, Tommy Catalano, and Dave Sapienza was ninth, and Craig Luntz rounded out the top 10. And did your car change at all during the event, Justin?
Yeah, we started off pretty good, a little to the neutral side, and we kind of expected the car to free up as we ran, but the weather and the dew didn't roll in, and the cars actually got tighter. Seemed like that was a struggle amongst a lot of the guys after the race, discussing it was everybody was just getting really tight. So I think we stayed the freest of everybody, and that was that was a good thing for us. And I feel fortunate enough that we were able to get by Matt when we did, because right after that my car definitely was tighter. I'm not sure I could have made the move on him with as tight as my car finished.
And you got a new crew chief for 2018 on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Talk a little bit about your crew chief and your race team.
Yeah, we at the end of 17, we had Billy Michael helping us out again, get through the end of the season, and unfortunately he wasn't able to come back full time in the capacity we needed him to, and we started making phone calls, and we got in touch with Ryan Stone, who was living down south at the time, working for Junior Motorsports on Justin Allgaier's team as a mechanic going on the road, and we talked to him a bunch, and he was a very big part of getting LFR off the ground when they started a few years ago. He was pretty much in charge of the modified department. We knew that he knew those cars in and out very well, and we were able to come to an agreement, and we hired him, and then we purchased the LFR cars, and we've just been hitting off since. I've known Ryan for a long time from all the races and always been friendly with him, and that's a big plus. But he's been a great addition to our team. Obviously, it's showing so far. Our cars are coming well prepared. They're very fast at all times, and he's just doing a great job. And the team has gelled it with everybody. With Ryan, instantly he fit right in. It's like he's been there forever, and everybody has a lot of respect for him and wants to work hard for him. And it's just been a great process so far. We're just hoping we can keep it rolling through the summer.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I got to give you a lot of the credit here. I mean, you talk about Ryan helping you out and this, that, and the other thing. You guys change cars and you still do well. I mean, I know a car is a car. Everything got four wheels, but it is a difference when you're going from a different car to a different car. And
yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it was no small feat to pull off what we did, switching cars again. We went from the Troyer to the Spafco, and now the Spafco to the LFR car, and we've had success with all of them. But I honestly feel a big part of it is the people working on it. We've had great crew chiefs leading the way the last bunch of years, and that's resulted in success. So I'm really happy and confident where we're at right now, and I think as we start going back to some of these tracks for a second time, and just continue going to new tracks, I think we're gonna only get better. And Ryan and I are gonna learn our lingo and everything of what I'm looking for and what he's looking for. And I just think it could even become better than it is right now.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, the saying that a crew chief is only as good as the feedback the driver can give him. And I mean,
yeah, without doubt.
So
it's a team package,
right? Absolutely.
You're only.
I'm just trying to give you your props in this whole situation here, because
I'm not taking them. No,
I know you've been changing cars and stuff and everything else.
No, I mean, I appreciate that very much, but I've said for a long time, you're only as good as your cars. Jimmy Johnson right now is struggling, and it's not like he forgot how to win races and all that. So, as much as you need a good driver, you need a good team, you need good race cars, you need good engines. It's a team sport for sure.
Well, the next stop for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour comes up June 13th at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. And, of course, that track has been very good to you, Justin. Of course, you won back there, the icebreaker going back in April. So you got to feel, once again, confident going into a racetrack that you've done well at before.
I love going to Thompson. I'm really, really excited to get back there. Obviously, we won the icebreaker. We won that race on a little bit of good fortune, putting ourselves in a good position. I feel like we had a good top 3, top 5 car, and now we're going to go back there for a second time. And we had a lot of speed all weekend. I just think we were maybe one adjustment away from having a car that could have, been outright the best car there. So I'm excited to learn from that and hopefully get a little better. And just going to Thompson, it's always great. I love racing there. I love the atmosphere of Thompson. It's just a great place for us, and I'm really hoping we can continue the streak we're on right now.
Yeah, Thompson's a great place to run. It's got that high bank. It's nothing like Bristol, but it's that high bank track where you really dig it in to get around there, and it's a fast track.
Yeah, no doubt. It's an aggressive racetrack, even as big as it is and as fast as it is. You have to be up on the wheel. You can't give an inch, and it's just it's an adrenaline rush. It's just one of those tracks that you sail it off into the corner as deep as you possibly can, and hope it comes out the other end every lap for 150 laps. So love going there, and I'm excited for next week.
Justin, when we had you back after your victory in the icebreaker back in April, and we had asked you here on Speedway Line Report Radio, we had talked about if you were going to be running any other series, and I'm pretty sure you said that you're going to just pretty much concentrate on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour.
Yes, that's all that's on the schedule for now. I was supposed to run the NEMA race this weekend at Riverhead Raceway, but unfortunately the Bertrand team had a little bit of an issue at their last race this weekend, one of their other cars, so they're going to need mine for their main driver, Avery Storr. So unfortunately, that was one of my extra races that's going to come off the schedule. But my biggest concern and biggest goal is to contend and try and win a Tour Championship, and we're just putting all our eggs in that basket. And I've got a lot going on outside of racing with work and what. So the days off and stuff are crucial. So just trying to concentrate on what's important to us and our race team, and try and go for that goal.
Yeah, it's especially when you're leading in the points, it's you want to go race somewhere else. Well, I'd probably like to. Let me see exactly what the schedule looks like here. I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with anything else. That's what
we're going through right now. We potentially might run the makeup Riverhead 300, which falls 3 days after Thompson and 5 days before Langley. So it's one of those decisions we're trying to weigh out the pros and cons right now. I'm a driver. I want to go race, especially at my home track in a big prestigious race. But I also understand the ultimate goal of what the end of the season is, and I don't want to do anything that'll jeopardize that.
Justin, it looks like in 2018 so far on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, car count has been very good.
Without a doubt. We've had over 30 cars at each race, and possibly could have had a few more at some of them. So things are looking up right now. I don't know if it's the economy or if, the additional money that NASCAR put up that has brought some cars back. But, it's really good to see. It's a strong field. There's so many competitive teams when things go right for certain people. It's obviously, it's a tough series to win in, but there's a lot of competitive teams, and I still feel that, there's at least a dozen teams that could win on any given week, given the right circumstances. So I love racing this series. I wouldn't want to do anything else, and it's really nice to see that the fans are there, the car count's there. Just everything seems to be going pretty well right now for modified racing in NASCAR.
Yeah, I wonder I'm very curious to see what the car count's going to be at Thompson, because that's that middle of the week race.
Yeah, I'd like to say you'll see 28 at the minimum. Hopefully we could stay in the 30s. I think that's a strong number if you can have at least 30 at each week. They could have sent a few home this past weekend. The entry blank only said 28, and they started 31, which was pretty cool. I know it's a short track, and it kind of adds some cautions, but when people travel so far, it's kind of nice to see them rewarded and able to get to run the race.
We're one. Hi, good evening. You're on Speedway Line Report Radio. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
It's Kurt from Waterbury again.
Yeah, go ahead, Kurt.
Yes, I was talking to Dave earlier. I want to ask Justin, how much do you win for a modified tour race?
Luckily this year, NASCAR and Whelen have upped the winner's bonus. So this past weekend, the purse was $6,500, and then Whelen throws in an extra $3,500 to make it $10,000 to win. And then there's a couple other bonuses that put you over put you over that 10,000. So the main goal this year from NASCAR and Whelen was to try and have each race pay at least $10,000. So it's in that ballpark each week.
Very good. Thank you for your answer, sir.
Thanks,
Thank you
Kirk.
for calling in.
And I hope you win a championship. All right, bye.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Appreciate Kirk giving us a call here tonight on Speedway Line Report Radio. Well, Justin, we want to get you back on. Congratulate you on your second victory of the season, the way you and that team are operating so far in 2018. Still got a long way to go in the schedule, some good racetracks coming up. And as you mentioned, certainly some good competitors, and pretty much anybody can win on any given date that the Whelen Modified Tour rolls into a racetrack. And good luck coming up at Thompson here in a few weeks.
I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure being on. It means we've done something good. So hopefully we can come on a few more times this year.
Absolutely. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You do the same. Justin Bonsignore, who competes on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, driving the number 51, sat in Victory Lane Saturday night at Seekonk Speedway. We'll take one more commercial break, and Ricky and I will come back to wrap things up on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio.
In the market for a new or pre-owned Acura? There's only one place to go, Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler offers the area's best selection of new and certified pre-owned Acuras, combined with being Connecticut's only Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Acura Dealership of Distinction Award 18 times. At Shaler, we make owning an Acura easy. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street in Manchester, or visit us on the web at www.shaleracura.com. There's nowhere else like Shaler Acura in Manchester. Shaler Acura is Connecticut's first Acura dealer. Whether it's an MDX or RDX sport utility, or a sport luxury sedan like the ILX or TLX, Shaler has what you're looking for. They also have the area's best selection of certified pre-owned Acuras in the area. Shaler Acura is the only Connecticut Acura dealer to earn the prestigious Dealer of Distinction Award by Acura for outstanding sales and service 18 times. At Shaler, they make owning and driving an Acura easy. Visit their ultra-modern, newly renovated facility today. Shaler Acura, 345 Center Street, Manchester, exit 60 off I-84, or visit them on the web at www.shaleracura.com.
Welcome back to Speedway Line Report Radio here on WATR 1320 AM. We are also stream online at WATR.com, and you can also hear our show in the archives at SidsView.com. I'm Gary Danko, my co-host Rocket Rick Rotondo. The show is also being brought to you by Prestige Bodyworks. If it's foreign, domestic, exotic, and if it's collision or refinishing, it's Prestige Bodyworks. Stop by, see Carl or Brett. They're located at 3 Colonial Road in Canton, Connecticut. Give them a call at 860-693-1350 for Prestige Bodyworks. Foreign, domestic, exotic, collision refinishing. Give them a call at 860-693-1350 for Prestige Bodyworks, 3 Colonial Road in Canton, Connecticut. We got about a minute and a half here on Speedway Line Report Radio, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut. Ricky, R&R Fabrication, what do you got going on in the shop? Whose cars you working on?
Ted Anderson, Tony Santangelo, Eric Burton's second car that they got coming.
Brand new car?
Yeah, Kaz bought a car.
Okay. So. Obviously, Troyer.
Yes, TA1.
Okay.
So, I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on and right now.
When you think that the Eric Burnt car will be done?
Oh, I don't know. We got to get it first.
Oh, okay. So
we didn't get the last one until 4 weeks before the season started.
Okay. So a new car coming to the for Kaz,
yep,
which Eric Burnt will be driving.
Yep.
At Stafford Motor Speedway.
Correct.
Okay, and of course Ted Anderson, that car based out of New Britain, Connecticut.
Yeah, him and the Bear there got a couple cars going over there, and I think Andrew Moeller might be driving Ted's car again soon. So.
Okay. Well, I want to thank our guests that joined us on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio tonight, David Gravel and Justin Bonsignore. Speedway Line Report Radio presented to you by Shaler Acura, Manchester, Connecticut, and also being brought to you by J.M. Montesano Auto Body, Sign Pro, Jim's Lawn Care Service, Levine Auto and Truck Parts, Prestige Body Works, and Grotto Restaurant. For Steve Noxon, Sid DiMaggio, my co-host Rocket Rick Rotondo, I'm Gary Danko. We'll look forward to talking to you next Monday night at 6 p.m. right here on WATR 1320 AM. And don't forget, check out our shows in the archive at sidsview.com. Good night.
The preceding has been a GMD production. Don't forget to listen to Gary next Monday night for more auto racing news on the Speedway Line Report. And remember, the show can be heard in a rebroadcast on sidsview.com.